going on, DJBooth.net? This is DJ Blaze, and I'm here in the lab to give you guys a full video review of the new Pioneer DDJ-ERGO USB digital DJ controller. Okay folks, so here it is. This is the Pioneer DDJ-ERGO digital DJ controller. It's a USB controller. It works with Macintosh and Windows units, and it's very similar to the other DDJ offerings from the Pioneer line. You have the DDJ-S1, which was made specifically for Serato. You have the DDJ-T1, which was made specifically for a tractor. And you had a lot of real tight mappings there, and everything worked really nicely. And we're going to dive into this review, and we're going to see how the little brother, the cheaper model DDJ-ERGO digital DJ controller, stacks up to those as well. So right from the top, you can see that Pioneer tried to make this a little more accessible. They didn't want to make it too daunting for your new user, so hence you have a nice smooth color scheme. It goes with everything. All the new design cues. You have a white border, nice polished shiny white material, and you have a matte black front finish, and everything just jives nicely. Everything looks good, and it's a really stylish piece. And this is for the people who are more concerned about the looks while they're actually performing instead of the actual performance. But this does have big performance too. So all in all, it's a good addition to the DDJ lineup, and we're going to show you why. The actual DDJ itself, it's spread out. It's pretty big. It's not as small as the pictures suggest. So all your controls and your knobs and everything have a nice spacing to them. And everything is very familiar to those who are used to the DJM or the CDJ style equipment from Pioneer. For the setup of the unit, the setup is pretty easy. All you have to do is plug in your USB cable, and you plug in your RCA cables going to your amp or to your powered speakers, and you're pretty much ready to roll. All you have to do is hook this up to your computer, and it comes with AISO drivers, and that is for Windows machines, and the Macintosh users won't have to do that. It'll be automatically recognized. And there's an other CD that it comes with, which is the Virtual DJ LE. And what we're going to do here for this actual controller review, we're going to test this on Virtual DJ. We also tested it with Tractor Pro 2, and it also works with Serato Intro. And it can work with many other digital DJ software out there because it is a mappable DJ controller. Everything is really tightly working with Serato Intro, with Virtual DJ LE, and with Tractor Pro 2, and all the mappings across the board felt great. It comes bundled with Virtual DJ LE, so in order to install that, you just slide it into your computer, and then you queue up the screens, and you just install easy as pie. For Tractor Pro 2, if you want to use it with that or with Serato Intro, you have to actually go to the Pioneer DJ website. You go to Support and Downloads, and there you'll be able to look up the model DDJ-ERGO, and you'll see all of the available downloads for Tractor Pro 2 and for your intro mappings. So having said that, now you guys know that it will work with many different softwares, and that is one of the big pluses of the unit. It's good for any DJ who has another setup and they're not wanting to worry about transferring their whole collection over to another type of DJ software. They can just keep what they're using now, and they can just choose which DJ software they want to integrate with the system. Okay, so next up we'll talk about the inputs and outputs. So we'll start off with the front of the unit. Up front we have the headphone outputs. They are 1/4 inch and mini. And around the back we have the removable feet and the master output in balance 1/4 inch. There's also another master output, which is the RCA. There's a mic with its own unique volume control knob, and an input selector that selects between either using the mic or using your aux input. So your aux input is a nice little addition for the DDJ-ERGO, because just in case something happens to your computer and it goes down, something goes wrong with your software, your music files, all you got to do is grab your iPod or any other device that you can get an RCA jack, and you can easily plug in anything here to continue with your mix. As you can see, there's also a separate volume control knob for the aux input as well. So moving right along, if you guys can see this here, we have the on and off switch and the USB port as well on the back. Alright, next up, we'll talk about the actual mixing console. And when we say the mixing console, we're referring to the middle portion of the deck. And basically this is a 4-deck controller, even though you're only seeing 2 decks of control here. You have a deck A and deck C button at the top, so that way this will act as deck A or deck C. And when you change the decks, the color of the actual pulse around the jog wheel will change to a different color to let you know you are in a different deck. Same goes for the other side. This is deck B and deck D, depending on which one you have pressed. And we have the faders. The faders are very similar to what's found on the other DDJ line, but this fader didn't feel as sturdy, and it didn't map as well for rigorous scratching and movement. So it's not very scratch friendly. So if you're looking to purchase this unit based on just using the faders for scratching, it's not going to work as well as the other DDJs offered in the Pioneer lineup, or it's not going to work as well as some of the other offerings from other manufacturers as well. But you're getting a good mixing unit, and you will be able to do some baby scratches, but you won't be able to pull off your crab scratches and other things like that with this fader. The line faders are a little bit tighter. The crossfader, by the way, does have a curve control. It's in the DJ-LE software, virtual DJ-LE software, as well as in the Tractor software. For your line faders, they have more resistance, and they actually feel like they have pretty good quality here. And underneath there, you will see there's an LED strip that lights up here, and this will let you know at a glance about how loud your output is playing here on your deck. And it also, at a glance, will let you know that the deck is live and active and playing. Also, continuing up to the mixing section of the mixer, we have the low, mid, and high 3-band EQs for all 4 decks. There's a gain knob for each, and there's also a load button here at the top that also illuminates. And when you are ready to load a deck into your track, you'll see the actual load light up, and it will load the actual track into the deck, and the deck too will light up the same color as the load button. So it's a lot of visual cues here to let you guys know what's going on. So it's good for beginners, especially for low light situations, bedroom DJs and DJs who are, playing house parties and things like that. You can just look at a glance and you can just tell by what's lit up what is going on here. Also, they have a cue section here in the middle. The cue section, you have a volume control for your headphones. You can light up and cue whatever is in your deck into your headphones. And you have a mix like fader knob here. And basically this knob will allow you to fade between cue or the master output. If you continue over to the right here, this is where we have your master volume control. There is no separate volume control for your other master output, so it's just one knob, one or the other. And you also have an additional aux and mic volume knob here on the front, so you can make your minor adjustments. Back there is basically like your gain knob for your actual aux and mic inputs in the back, but this is your actual overall volume control volume knob there. Okay, next up we'll talk about the actual deck controls, and when I'm referring to the deck, I'm actually talking about the places that actually manipulate your music, and that's found over here on the left side for deck A and C, and here on the right side for deck B and D. So basically the first thing that jumps out to you when you're talking about the deck controls is the jog wheel. So the jog wheels here are very similar to what is found on the other DDJ, digital DJ controllers. You have the push top style of pressure plate, which goes down, and it really feels pretty accurate. And you also have the sideband, which will act like a jog wheel in order to speed up or slow down your track while you're in vinyl mode. When you press the button, you're now in normal mode, and that way you can, whatever you do to the top will just speed up and slow down your track in order to find the correct mix. Overall, the mapping was really tight for all software that we use. We used Serato Intro. We also used Traktor Scratch Pro 2, and we also used the virtual DJ LE that it came with, and each time it felt just as tight, maybe a little bit tighter with Traktor mapping, but you can see the mapping is pretty close. No jumps or skips or anything like that. But when you're doing your very rigorous scratching, your very fast movements, again, unlike the other DDJs, the DDJ-ERGO, has a little bit of a delay to it, or a little bit of a off resolution, to where you can't do all of your accurate, super tight scratches, but you can do enough. You can do just enough, but you'll have difficulty if you're trying to do advanced scratches and you're trying to do a lot of back cueing and juggling techniques. Okay, also you'll notice that the outer ring of the Pioneer DDJ-ERGOs, the jog wheels, have a lot of colors involved with them, and I'll try to explain it. It's called the new pulse system. This way, like we were talking about earlier, the DJ at a glance can just see exactly what's going on. So a blue LED on the jog wheel shows how close the phase of the mix is during a mix. So when you're mixing two records or two tracks together using the DDJ-ERGO, you can tell if they're on beat or off beat by the color of the blue LED and how often you see it flash. The bigger difference in pitch, then the weaker the light will be. The closer the match, the more intense the light shines. There's also a launch pulse, which is a red light that travels from the load button towards the jog wheel to indicate when a new track is loaded. And I'll show you that right now. And you have your new track on. And you also have an FX pulse, which varies, light patterns on the jog wheel to show which, effects you have applied. So we'll play something really quickly so you can see the effects pulse. That's an echo. That's the reverb. And that's your flanger. Also, along with the deck controls, you have your tempo slider here. And the tempo slider is a bit wobbly and a bit cheap here on the DDJ-ERGO, not so on the other DDJs. You also have a key lock button. There is a sample volume knob for each of your sample decks. Also continuing, you have your hot cue buttons, your sampler buttons, your FX Bank 1, FX Bank 2, and you also have a loop section, your play pause, your cue button, and a shift button, so you can do other things like delete your hot cues and delete the samples on the fly. Okay, next up we'll talk about the extra features that are found on the DDJ-ERGO digital DJ controller, and it's usually found on other digital DJ controllers as well, but this being a somewhat of an entry level unit, it was still good to see that Pioneer took the time out to think it through and make sure that they included the features that all DJs would love as well. So we have the loops, the hot cues, samples, and effects. Loop sections over here. You have 4 hot cue buttons. Everything is mapped to Traktor Pro 2. I used the TSI file that was given directly from Pioneer DJ, and I had no issues with it. Everything was mapped nicely. Everything laid out very nice for Traktor. You have your 4 sampler buttons here that match the sample decks. You have your FX Bank 1, FX Bank 2, and all of your buttons and knobs positioned just like it is in Traktor. And you also have your loop controls over here. Very easy to see, very easy to act upon your loops. So first up, we'll just do a few hot cues. We have cued in there. Show you how easy it is. Set your cues. You just play And while you're playing along, you can set your hot cues and you can go back and cue them up. And in order to delete them, you just press Shift and the cue bank that you would like to delete.
Check. Can I get a check? Check. Yeah. I got them keys in the crib. You wouldn't find them if you had the keys to the crib. I got them keys in the crib. Them niggas crib. I got them keys in the crib. You wouldn't find them if you had the keys to the.
And next up, we have the samplers and the loops. So in order to use your samplers like sample decks, you can just press your sample button as I have done there, and you'll get your sample deck when you switch over to deck C. It's a very long sample, but you can see it's there, and we can play it along with the actual. And we can also do a loop and turn that into a sample.
It ain't cheese if it's less than a meal. I think I'm losing my religion. I think I'm losing my religion.
And we can put it up here.
Losing my religion. I think I'm losing my religion. I think I'm losing my religion.
And then we can go back to our.
I think I'm losing my religion. I think I'm
And it's stored as a sample.
I think I'm.
Next up, we have the actual effects section, and for the effects, it's laid out just like it is in Tractor. I believe for Virtual DJ, the effects that you get are the flanger, the beat grid, flip and double, overloop, backspin, break, and echo. And everybody knows how it works in Tractor, but for Virtual DJ, the effects buttons and everything lined up a little bit differently. Instead of using these as separate effects, you use your one effect in Virtual DJ LE, and you use these knobs to control the parameters of that effect. In Tractor, you can set 3 effects up at your FX1 and another 3 effects at your FX Bank 2, and you can use them all as you wish, and you can change your parameters of each individual effect, or you can dial it down and use your main effect, and you can change the parameters however you want to set it up in Tractor. In order to enact your FX Bank, if you want to enact your effect on the deck C, which we have selected now, and you want your FX Bank 1 and Bank 2 to be enacted upon that deck C, this is what you do. You press this to activate the 2 FX banks. And in deck A, you'll have it separately as well, 1 and 2. And same goes for B and D. And then you will just turn on the effect, whichever effect you want to use.
I think I'm losing my religion. 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 I think I'm losing my religion.
Okay, in conclusion, the Pioneer DDJ-ERGO is an excellent addition to the whole Pioneer DDJ lineup. You know, when they first announced the DDJ-ERGO, I thought that this would be a entry-level type of controller and that we're going to find a lot of cheap components and, you know, skimping on features. But, you know, lo and behold, they've pulled it off, and they've happened to fit, you know, most of the features that other top DJ controllers have in their arsenal. There's a reason that this is cheaper than the others. You know, a few items here and there are a little bit cheaply made, and you know, the mapping to the scratching doesn't always add up perfectly, but you know, it's nice and stylish, has a good look, a good feel. It's big enough and spread out enough for a beginner and for any DJ with big hands to, you know, take advantage of the extra space. It's extremely versatile. You know, it works with all types of DJ software. We tested it with Tractor 2, Serato Intro, and Virtual DJ LE, and all 3 all performed nicely. It's 4 decks of Tractor and tracks of control, you know, directly out of the box. So you're not just getting 2 decks here. Like some controllers are 4-deck controllers, but out of the box you need to go buy the Pro software in order to unlock the feature to give you the other 2 decks. But here, not the case. Right out of the box, for the price that it costs, you are getting your complete 4 decks of control. Another big plus is the emergency pass-through aux input on the back and the mic input. You know, in times of need, if you're at a party, you're jamming, all of a sudden your software takes a crap and you need to still play music for everyone, you know, on the dance floor, you can just grab your iPod, plug your RCA jacks in the back, and you can continue the party. And it's a very nice feature to have, and it's a big plus. There's also a nice onboard full feature set. You know, you've got your samples, your hot cues, your loops, your effects, and it's MIDI mappable, so you will be able to, you know, customize it to your liking depending on the software that you see fit. So all in all, we're going to recommend this for bedroom DJs. We're going to recommend this for mobile DJs that, you know, want to look good when they're also, you know, playing out nice house parties, medium-sized parties. We're going to recommend this to, you know, anyone who needs another portable setup, you know, that's versatile enough to work with professionals, DJs, existing software. So a person might have a Tractor Scratch setup and they might want a Pioneer or a controller of their choice. They can choose the Pioneer DDJ-ERGO because no matter what software they're using their digital vinyl setup with, they'll be able to also use this with the same library of music. So that's all we have for now. To check out the full written review, go to www.djbooth.net/DJS for DJs. You can search through all of our reviews there. You can keep checking us out on YouTube. The YouTube channel is www.youtube.com/RealDJBlaze. And you can also follow me on Twitter. It's @DJBlaze_DJBooth. Thanks for watching.